בקיצור,
שאפשר לאכול מ8 עד 9, מ9 עד 10.
זה נורמלי.
זה נורמלי ככה.
הלכות דין בדיוק כמו שסגור את החדרות.
בסדר, בסייעתא דשמיא. So we started the Toises yesterday in Daf Lamed. We go over it again.
No sound. No sound.
There is some sound. We got you. We hear you. You're around the bitches.
Okay, now I hear you. Okay, you can go now. You can shoot.
So he says, "Are you back with us, Rabbi Yonasan? Are you back?" So,
The sound's going in and out, in and out, in and out. By the way, maybe someone can fix the sound. No sound.
I want to go over to it again and learn the Gemara.
Off and on.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Let's go over the Gemara. The Mishnah says that they made a decree that the bread and oil of goyim you're not allowed to eat and drink or eat bread and oil because Rashi says chasrus. We don't want to marry their daughters. And the Mishnah added the ashlokos and also the cooked foods. Cooked food of goyim, any cooked food that a goy cooked according to Rashi, even there's no biyun akum, even though the vessel is pure, there's no swallowing from impure things. All of them are also because of chasnas. So we have three things of chasnas: bread of goyim, oil of goyim, and cooked foods of goyim. Okay? The Gemara says on the bread of goyim, yes.
I don't say what the Gemara you're right.
Yes.
See, the Gemara says a shlok. Ashi's Moses at that cloud. And if for not only shlokos, told double.
Yes.
It says a kulu all double, not only shlokos, but kulu not and all doubles. And the shed because kulu, because Ashi's Moses, but this is the Gemara. Ashi's Moses doesn't say Gemara. Say Gemara, told double, says shlokos. Ashi's the kulu doesn't told double. Bishul Chabos, maybe Bishul. He's not talking not a class, not a show. It's not. It also fits. Why he puts it here? He's only talking about that, nothing else. That's the Sechel HaYoshua. He don't talk about the food. He don't talk about that. Doesn't mention. He gets a tirutzi. This and that. That is only that. And another chidusha. Only that.
Possible. That's what she speaks about. Okay, possible. It doesn't matter. We know the Gemara says later on the problem of Bat and Shem and his chasms. Okay. Possible. Yeah, can hear. So the Gemara brings down the name of Rabbi Yochanan said that the bread was permitted but not in bathing. There is an opinion that permits. The Gemara explains in the field or the Shatat Chak. Or he never permitted it. It's a mistake. There's three opinions in the Gemara. But according to two opinions, bread was permitted by Rabbi Yehuda, by Rabbi, but not in bathing. So Tosfos says, I'm reading now the Tosfos. Michlal diikam leman deshom. I can infer there is an opinion that he permitted it. B'dekolma patlo uto bebasic. Since Rabbi Yochanan said bread was not permitted in court, Michlal, I can infer from this, if he wanted, he would permit it. It's page 35b, Toises Michlal. So Toises says, since Rabbi Yochanan mentioned the words that it's permitted, was not permitted in court, means somebody permitted it, but not permitted in court. When I say bread was permitted not in court, I'm saying two statements. Was permitted, but not in court. And the third statement, which I don't know if the third statement is true or not, third statement means and I don't need basing. Or maybe it means to say, I need it and it was not done in basing, that's what's no good. So only two options. But I'm definitely saying was permitted, and I'm definitely saying was permitted outside of basing, and I may be saying that I don't need basing, that's why it's permitted outside of basing, I don't need. Capish? So now let's read choices. Since Rabbi Yochanan said that bread was not permitted in court, I can infer from this. If he wanted, Rabbi Yochanan wanted to permit it, Rabbi wanted to permit it, we permit it and you don't need court. But why not? The normal rule is if Beis Din makes a decree, Zeiros, you need Beis Din that is equal or better in numbers and Chochmah means. And Beis Din, Nevata Dimei Chavero, can go to Melem B'Minyan, B'Chochmah Minyan. A Beis Din cannot knock out another Beis Din's words unless they are equal or better than in wisdom and in numbers. Oh, the answer is, Tosha says, we see from here, Lo Yiporsha Tisur. The Issa was not spread. You hear this, Yonatan? The Issa was not spread. So what? Why? Alma Lo Yiporsha Tisur. The Issa was not spread among the Jewish people. Probably it's not practical to hard for people to keep. So why, if the Issa was not spread, you don't need court to permit it? So Tosha doesn't explain, but we'll explain in the next few lines. Umikan, from here, Somchu Ato. From here, they rely today. Who is they rely today? They, the Jewish people in Europe, France, the area of Tosfos. Some the people today rely on le'echol pachel goyim, to eat bread of goyim.
Pasta or even in the house?
He doesn't say. It says bread of goyim. No chiluki. Even since I know it wasn't only pasta, only shatat chak, only in the field. The Gemara gives restrictions. The place that says from here, from the statement of Rabbi Yochanan, they rely to eat bread of goyim. Why? Even since since the Easter was not spread on all the Israel, by all Israel, the Jewish people. So therefore what? Since the prohibition was not spread, I can rely on the words of Rav Shimon Gamliel that said, the Hamredding said later on, page 36, they come on Amid Vav Daled, En Goizim Gzeir Al HaTzibur, the rabbis, the Beis Din are not allowed to decree on the congregation, Elohim can, unless Roiv HaTzibur, majority of the congregation, Yecholim la'amod bo, they couldn't stand it. 1 second. They said the rabbis, the Beis Din, are allowed to make decree unless the congregation can hold it. So they made a decree, means they felt they can hold it. And in reality, the Jewish people couldn't hold it. They assume this is a call a deduction, assumption. Since Rab Lozo, Rab Shimon Gamliel, Rab Lozo, that Beis Din are allowed to make a decree unless they estimate that the majority of the congregation hold on to it. What happened if they estimated that the congregation can hold and they were mistaken? They should assume the same way they're not allowed unless they make that assessment. If the assessment is found out to be wrong, and the Jews will not hold on to it also, so found out retroactively that the Beis Din were mistaken to make the decree, and therefore they don't the Beis Din to destroy it. Maybe you need rabbis or Beis Din. They don't need equal Beis Din and wisdom in numbers. You hear this, Rabbi Yonatan? Right.
You don't need basing of the.
The Rambam's language is as follows. The Rambam says, I'm going to print it today. I thought I already had the papers this morning. It was sent by mail. I didn't have the time to print it last night. But I'll print it right when I finish the sheet and keep it out. But the Rambam says, Beis Din are allowed to make a decree unless the oimed, you know the word oimed? They made an estimation that the tzibur can receive it. And if the tzibur receives it, it's a decree. If the tzibur didn't receive it, it's not a decree. That's exactly what they should say. They should say, since there is to rely on the words of Shem Gamir, that said, you're not allowed to make a decree on a congregation unless the majority of the congregation can hold on to it. So since basically before they make a decree, they need to estimate the reality of the congregation, also means that if they found out to be wrong and the congregation didn't accept it, it also means the decree was not a decree. And you don't need equal court to cancel it or nullify it. And equal court means the numbers and wisdom, yes. So we know it's a mistake. As far as it didn't base it, it's a statement of rabbis that they have to deal with. But it doesn't have the name of the decree of Gezeres Chazal. That if the Gezeres Chazal are basing, the only way to break it, only if you have the same core wisdom and number.
To break it because it's never established.
Correct. Was a mistaken. No. It was established in court.
But not accepted. So
It wasn't accepted.
it's
Right.
not-
Correct. Ve'oid and more. Ve'oid raya. Another proof, they just the Amir Lekamon Lametzan Mudal. The Gemara later on, page 37a says, Ve'yameinu tati rafapat. The rabbis pushed Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the grandson of Rabbi. Listen, in our days, go permit prayer because it's too hard for us. He didn't let those guys push him to permit bread because he said it only for one reason. Elo mishum only because of Damukole Beis Din Sharia. He says, oh, if I would be permitted too many things, because he already permitted that day another thing, they will call me a Beis Din that permits too much, and like Beis Din. And the Jewish people will not listen to me. So only problem is the people will not listen to him. But mashma, but if mashma that he had the power to permit, even though it was a lower level of Beis Din and wisdom, the numbers. So this concludes that. And after the Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya, came another court, he permitted it. This Beis Din is 3-4 generations down the line, and they're not in the same power of wisdom and numbers. How they can permit it, I don't need, because originally Beis Din cannot decree unless this congregation can receive. And the congregation receive. It's not a decree of Beis Din, therefore any Beis Din, lower Beis Din can permit. Capish, Rabbi Yoshua? Ve'oid, a third point. Ve'oid, Tzvi, I late. Come on, get yourself a Gemara. You have a Gemara? Do you have a Gemara?
No, I don't have.
So get yourself a Gemara.
the guy,
Give him a Gemara, show him you're holding. Get him involved.
the guy,
Yes.
Rakasha.
Yes, what's a
It
kasha?
says, you know what I mean? The Mishnah, the basic, basic shayla. He didn't say, you don't need a basic. The name was Mukuk.
I answered you. I knew your question, and I said your question, and I gave an answer. What we answered, that you don't need a base in the same level of the Chochmah and Minyan. But in order to deal with the rabbis, at least rabbis, you know the rabbi to be.
It's pretty. He start.
Start to spread.
In all the places.
Oh,
So what happened with the people that start?
very good question. What will be, very good question. What will be, this is very good question. Hear this, everyone here? No, I'll explain the question. What would happen if some of the areas were spread, and the areas that are spread, most of the people in that area accept, and in some areas didn't spread. Those areas that are spread, and the majority of the people in that area accepted it, the decree stays or not? Why?
You already accepted this, you come in, you can should stay with that. If you're marking with that, it should stay,
So
no?
but the question is it a gezerah or mina?
What?
The question is, say the gezerah, when it becomes a mina.
No, me not. Not accept. Toy says it's not accepted because it wasn't accepted. But and you need to bring to permit. But in certain areas there was never there were certain that was accepted.
So that's the question.
The question is the permission of the rabbis later on, later generations, will permit and move away the minhag of those areas that did accept it. Maybe not or maybe it doesn't work for them. Good question. By the way, we have to deal with it because this is a true reality. A lot of places keep hold in areas that they accept and not to eat bread of going down allowed. In places like Chutzlag, which was no minhag, then we permitted it. That's not what happened. Going and more. The and more Damina Yerushalmi. And more has been said in Yerushalmi, the Pirkim, Aloch Echet, Yerushalmi second chapter, Aloch Echet. The Pirkim Shabbos, Aloch Echet. It says there like this: bread, on duolo, bread. They stood upon it. And they permitted. Yes, Rabbi Yomi. They stood upon it. What does it mean they stood? It means they took the problem, they learned the problem, they learned the matter. Means they stood. They means they checked it. And they permitted it. The question is it permitted everywhere or not? This didn't relate to that. What about areas that they did accept it? After they permitted it, permits in those areas or not? This is now makes a conclusion.
It's like a meal.
Yes.
Many people hold Ashkenazi hold meal for the Goyim, it's okay. But the Hasid is only Chukha Israel. This is the
Okay, let's see.
The only Chukha Israel.
Right. So let's see possible. This is good. Omission is only part of going. One was careful from bread of going. Mutar is permitted le'echol to eat. The meal of someone with someone. She'eno means that is not careful. The kara had on one thing. If you ever went to the Bedouins or the Arabs, you saw they eat. They have in the middle a big plate, and everybody, two hands, in there, put their hands and eat from the main dish. Yeah, I don't know if they have that in America or in Canada, and then the Arabs have to eat. No, but they don't have a problem with hygienics. So Taisa says, the word. Chinese hot pot? What is that?
You take there's a big pot full of boiling water and they.
Boiling water?
Boiling water, whatever, or like burners, you go and take put food on it. They keep filling with food every day, they keep adding food to the pot, never really finishes.
Really?
There's a pot out there that's 3 generations old. It has like a 1 Michelin star in, I think, Thailand or something.
But the food can be decayed and dangerous.
No, it's boiling. It's boiling the whole time. It's always boiling.
Boiling for 100 years.
No, they have a pasta, liquid with sauces. They will always add meat on it, cooked meat. And they will take out the meat and they keep adding the same pasta sauces for hundreds of years because they keep cooking, changing ingredient every day.
It's still on the fire. Always in the fire.
It's on the fire. You know, you'll see what
That's gonna have germs.
No, because
It kills everything. It kills everything.
it's boiling.
So it's
Everything is boiling.
It's pasteurized.
Where does thing exist?
In China every winter.
No, they still doing all the time. People have a business, they cook meat and sauces, they're selling cooked meat. So they cook all the meat and sell the meat, but the sauces stay. The more meat cooked, the sauce more tasted. And this is one of the solution.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what's the special about it?
I never heard that.
No, that means the smell of the meat will travel to the street. That's the business. That's how you construct.
Okay.
So
Niza.
Sourdough, you keep it up hot for years and years, and you take a little.
I won't eat bread. I won't eat sourdough.
I'll never eat them, even if it's kosher. Because who knows how many germs, who knows who was there before? Should be small, that's scary.
No, I just tell them what they're going.
Misha is army parts of going. One is careful for bread of going. You're allowed to eat with someone who's not careful in one pot. Even though shetam pat going mitareh bepat Israel, even though the taste, you hear this? The taste of the bread of the goy are mixed with the bread of the Jew. The Toysa says you have to be strict. It's another statement. Toysa really said 2 things. Number one is that since Rabbi Yochanan says I was not forbidden in basing means I don't need basing. And they rely on this that they eat bread of goyim because they said since I don't need basing, even a much lower basing later on 2 generations down, they can permit it. So I don't need, it wasn't really a decree. I don't need basing equal in wisdom and the numbers. I don't need that. So since was not a decree really. So and some lower basing permitted it. So area is that they accepted it. Number one. Number 2 is they never prohibit ta'oivus. Since it's not a decree, it's only a statement of rabbis. You have to be strict. Le'eso on the day ta'oivus to prohibit through mixture. Why not? Maybe according to those that there is a decree, or those that accepted the decree, or those that accepted the statement of the rabbis, it was also prohibited ta'oivus, also mixture. They says no. You don't have to be strict. You don't need to be strict to prohibit mixture. Yeah, they all up in the comment like the Gemara in first chapter, page 6a says, the gozu ala ta'oivus. This makes a very weird similarity. Same way by Dmai means fruits that you need to take off tumas and mices, and you bought it from Amoritz, so you don't know if he took it off or not. It's called Damai, you should know once. Damai, don't know, Dam means no. Mai, what is it? Should know what's the reality of it. It's a suffix. Damai, the law is, what do we do by Damai? What do we do by Damai? The law is in our to eat. But what about ta'oivus? Like I got mixture with something else. The Gemara says the rabbi said every vegetables, fruits that come from an amoris, you don't know if you do costumes and mices, you prohibit.
In Israel.
In Israel, yes, we prohibit. Before we prohibit. When a Jew buys from another Jew, the other Jews in amoris, you buy fruits and vegetables, you don't know if he took costumes and mices, the rabbi is prohibited. But what happened if it got mixture? that fruits which we don't know what happened with, they got mixed with fruits of vadai, or vegetable that vadai took off the what's the law? The law is the rabbis didn't make a decree on taroimus. They only said fruits and vegetables comes from our moment as also as dry, only when it's vadai. But when it's mixture, they permit it. The chai gavna, the same way, see, hey, 1 second. The chai gavna bepat de goy nami, the same way by a bread of a goy. Sure is permitted, a mixture, the leise lepat beina. You don't have bread in reality. Your eyes can see. It's a mixture. So it goes to they didn't make a decree only where the Isabeina when it's by the eyes. So Tosis makes a big yesod, which doesn't know where he get it from a svara. He says, since it's not a decree, you cannot be strict to say you did mixture. Because the rabbis only prohibit something be'ain. It's not be'ain, when it's a mixture, the rabbis in prohibit. Maybe no, maybe once, if the rabbis prohibit also mixture. Although we didn't accept it, but those are the customs, so it should be also even mixture. He says no. We don't have to be strict too much. And we say, no, the rabbis only prohibit be'ain, like the same way by Demai. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's true, that he's trying to say there's two options. You hear this all the time? There's two options. One option is to say that the rabbis made a decree even by a mixture. And one option is to say the rabbis did not mean only by be'ain, not by mixture. So since, I don't know, it's only the Rabbanon, and the Gzeir were not accepted, don't be strict. That's what it says. And assume, that's what it means, probably. And assume that the rabbis only prohibit be'ain like by the mind. Maybe not. You're right, maybe not. There's the Rabbanon. There's some of the Rabbanon. Why don't we lenient to say that? Don't be machmir and say like this. This doesn't have, because why doesn't bring a proof? Who says that's the Gzeir? This doesn't need to bring a proof. You hear this? Shlomo. This doesn't need to bring a proof. Why doesn't it need to bring a proof? Because it's the Rabbanon. Some of the Rabbanon on the Sabbath was a decree. You're lenient and you're saying to yourself, you say this is a decree. The decree was only on Be'eri and not Taroimus. And as long as I found that the rabbis only make decree on Be'eri, not Taroimus, like by Demai, so now he's upon you to bring a proof that the Gzeir of is really also on Taroimus. And as long as you don't have a proof, it's such an option, because of the Rabbanon. And you assume that that's the Gzeir. That's doesn't have to bring a proof of that. As long as such an option. And we see such an understanding in other places, we assume that's what it means.
I would say.
Go ahead, I'm listening what you say.
Yeah, we can say that all the Gezeira of Chatanus.
Yes.
So if there are two Jewish and one eats zara, one is adraba, sheyotal.
No. When I buy bread of goyim and I give it to my family, they say, no, my family will marry me and my family. No. They know the bread comes from goyim. It's a decree. Also a Jew. Once there's bread from goyim, bread of goyim. We in, okay. Now we ready for the Gemara. I know. That's exactly what we say. The Hoyot Demar Zara. Right, just to say there's such a possibility somewhere else. Who says that's what it means here? You have to explain choices. That when choices is elachmi, don't be strict. There's a language. Don't be strict to prohibit through taroimus, like we find by Demar. That is the way. So see here, the rabbi is incomplete by taroimus. Who says? Yeah, but who says he is like Demar? Why yes? Why not? Maybe yes, maybe not. The answer is you don't need to bring a proof of that. As long as such a possibility, no, it's not logic. As long as such a possibility, you don't need to be strict. You have two options to explain the Gzeir of lechem, going, bread of going. Is it? What do you want to say? No, buys the above. Who is the rice? And now you have a suffix if they took him to Muslims. They're always prohibited. You buy from the owners, you have a suffix they prohibit. But they only prohibit A, but if the dema is mixed with other fruits which for sure to Muslims, we permit it. The rabbis didn't say that I look as if I have an isu mixed with the heter. The isu was only Ba'ain, but when it gets mixed, it's permitted. Also here, the bread, only Yosu Ba'ain, but when it's mixed, the rabbis say, who says to be similar to the Maya, who says, so what if I'm who says here? They say, who says Elachmi? I don't have to be strict because once the Rabbon is such an option, I don't have to be Machmi and say the decree was also not Ba'ain.
So in case of.
Not the rice, stop it, the rice. Not even in 1 second. 1 second, no, I made a mistake. And I didn't explain it properly. It's not a suffix. The Gemara says, Roi v'me'aretz ma'asim. Majority of Ameratzim do take off myself. So mitzad the din doraisa is permitted. So on the rabbi is prohibited. They prohibited it. They permitted it. But mitzad the is permitted because you have roiv. The rabbis prohibit only bay, not mixture. What's it here? The rabbis prohibit only bay, not who said? Who said? It just says Elachmi. Elachmi, listen. Don't be strict because of the Rabboni, you cannot be strict.
Maybe because Chasonos, it should be more Hamur. Maybe. We don't know. Maybe Chasonos is more Hamur than the Mash. Maybe. We say. So we say, and there is.
Yes, so if since Tosha says a similar Elachmi, what's the reason the same?
You are not allowed to buy from unless if you didn't take out too many licenses.
Yes. You don't know if you took it.
Okay, so what about if is it possible that I
Or
buy?
majority of Ameratzim Nasi.
Can I buy it and take off the tumor and myself for him? Absolutely.
Yes, that's what we do. We buy it and we take off the Messiahs.
I can buy it. I have to.
Yes, yes, sir. So the what you call the Marshal, I do just another Marshal. This is Maharam. The Maharam learns the last part of places as follows. The Chaygavna b'moned the goy. There is a path, and there is Maharam. So I'm going to start the Maharam. I read Tosel the way the Bachar. Now I added the word Chaygavna instead of the word mana means a vessel. I added the word pot, bread. So they say the same way by Dmai, I only prohibit Dmai itself, not that way. This also by a bread of going is permitted when the bread is not in Be'ain, is a mixture. Okay? But there is a Gilsa of the Maharam, and he learns the Chaygavna b'mana de goy. He says if I have a vessel of goy which is swallowed bread of goy, and I'm eating my burekas, and it's hot. My burekas, kosher, basi soy burekas, on a plate with swallowed bread of goy, hot bread of goy. Chaygavna b'mana de goy. We permit ta'aronis, and we permitted bliyot. B'mana de goy, vessel of goy, surely is permitted. The lace of the bread is not a bein, it's only balua, it's only swallowed in the vessel. The goes there's no gzeo only when it's made. So there's two ways how to read the end of Tosha. But no matter what, Tosha holds of the opinion that when the rabbis prohibit, they only permit the bread of itself, and we cannot be strict and said that the gzeo was only also by ta'oivis and also by bliyos. So bliyos and ta'oivis, Tosha conclude we cannot be strict, and we can't say it's the gzeo was there. So Tosha is really saying two things. First of all, the decree was not a decree of Bezdin because it was not spread. Therefore, any rabbis can permit it. In certain places they permit it, in certain places they accept it. by a suffix or by not the ain or by bliois, Toisus permit bread. Okay. Now we'll continue on the Flamet Vova Mudal. We have to go through the Gemara a little bit more. Yes.
It says that part of
Correct.
it means that it wasn't a basic degree according to Toshos. The
No.
Mishnah said the past.
Part was a decree of Beis, but since it wasn't accepted by the Jewish people, we made it the decree is not a decree. We're going to see more about it. That's what I want to learn today. I want to see the Toises and the Flamet Vova Mudalef below. It's a big one over here. I want to go through it now. We still have another 20 minutes. So I want to go through it.
So what Rabbi Yochanan says, low travel basic. He shouldn't say that. Right?
Why not?
Because the decree wasn't permitted. You don't need a basic. You don't need a basic.
He didn't say you need. He said the reality. You should know that when Rebbe Abin Anossi came to permit it was only in the field. It was without his basic. He did say if you need or no need. He said the reality was when it was permitted, it was not in basic. Now you have two options to say. I need a basic and that's why it's no good. Or I don't need a basic and it was outside the basic because I don't need a basic, that's why it's good. You don't know. That's a hidden fact. Based just so the word here learns and becomes people realize that rabbis in France and in Germany and Ashkenazi countries, they learned that it was not a basic and you don't need a basic. That's why it wasn't basic. Why you don't need a basic? Because it wasn't spread. And say the same way basic not to make decree unless the estimator can spread. If we didn't spread the reality, also the decree is not a decree. That's an assumption. But that's what this is assumed.
The answer of the Gemara wasn't because they command the sharing a basic goisri.
No, the Gemara says they permitted on a basic and there is an opinion that it works, that permission works. Well, says who holds such an opinion? The Gemara brings it up. There was in the field, there was a pressure time.
But it shouldn't say because they command the sharing. But again, ain't goes in the zara. The Mishnah says that wasn't the zara, and after it badla the zara. Because אין העם יכול לעמוד. So why did the answer of the Gemara was because they command the sharing? אבל כן, אין בייסין גוזרים. בסדר, שאין העם יכולים לעמוד בה.
There's two really have to explain like this. I learned the Gemara is like this. The Gemara is saying, I think that's what the Gemara is saying. The Gemara is saying that Rabbi Yochanan said bread was not permitted in base. Michlav, but I can infer from this that there is an opinion not like Rabbi Yochanan that it was permitted in base. And Rebbe permitted in base. Michlav di Kamanda Shori means there is an opinion that holds that he did permit it in court.
So the question, it seems to be a question, because the answer is in.
Yes, but there is an opinion, and Gemara brings down. He also have the Rebbe came to the field, and the guy brought Papon and he said, how beautiful it is. Why can't we prohibit his arai? So why they permitted the field? So the nation thought that he permitted it. He permitted where? Basin? He had his basin with him, was alone. We don't know. Maybe he wasn't basin without alone. Just told the Gemara was mistaken. Maybe he permitted it. Just ask the question. According to Rav Yosef, that's what he did. It was in the field, is in the pressure, or the mistake in the third part. He meant to say bakery of a goyim, really meant bakery of a Jew. Then you have Rav Chel and Rav Yochanan. Rav Chel says that when there's a Jewish bakery, you don't permit with goyim, and Rav Yochanan says only in the field. But Lamais, he said only in the field, but the bakery was not permitted in basing. But later on, it was permitted in the lower basing, he's not basing. So that's what it seems to be saying. Okay. The Gemara. The Hashem and Shalom. We're going to glance through this Amud because this talks about oil. But what's important for us is the concept of the decree being spread or not. So there's a thesis which I want everybody to learn. The Atnan and Beis in Yochel. It's Lamed Vav Mudal below. Okay? We have the thesis, we have to see the Rambam. The Hashbah already showing you, I'm going to print it out. I want to spend some time to go through that idea. Then we're going to go on to the difference between baking, and cooking. The Gzeira of baking bread, which Tosha says doesn't exist by Ta'aroives, it doesn't exist by Beliois, swallow and mixture. And by cooked food of going exists even by Beliois and even by Ta'aroives. Okay? To different Gzeiras, are different Gzeiras. This is where we're marching, and that's our goal. So let's start Daf Lamed Amud Beis below the last line. Hashem and Shalom, Shem and Rav Omar Daniel goes on. Shem and Rav says Daniel, when he was living in the house of Nebuchadnezzar, and he forced him to eat meat of goyim, and they wanted to force him to eat bread. They only ate legumes.
Wait. Lamed Vav.
Part of it is Shem and Rav Omar Daniel goes on. Daniel, the prophet, decreed not to eat oil of goyim. Zilfoson means spitting out what they swallow. Zilfoson means spitting out from being swallowed. Shelkenim Tmeim, vessel which are tome prohibited. Which means when they do the oil, they press the oil, they create the oil. The swallowing of those vessels which they contain the oils in it takes out the swallowing of Yainese, other prohibition of goyim, and that's why they prohibit it. Or the more he talks about tahara. The first Ashkenim Tmei was a swallowing of impure vessels, not I said Yainese, but impure things. Impure means Sheretz touched it. And Zav touched it, Shechvazera, means impure people. So Zlivosa means the swallowing, Shokeli Tmeim, a vessel which are not pure, Tome, start to prohibit the oil. Is that everyone eats only pure food, only Kohanim. Normal Jews eat impure foods. Only a Kohen doesn't eat or Chomer. Yes, David HaMelech in Yonatan. Elos lifoson shem kelim asuri wasam. We talk about the swallowing of vessels which are prohibited, which means they had inside impure food. Yainese, Chazer, Teves, Neveles, Caleb, Dam, who knows all those impure stuff.
Where are you reading?
I'm reading page 36a. So now we have two reasons why you're not allowed to eat oil. One is Daniel made a decree. Or going to Shmuel, we're afraid that the vessels that the oil was being contained had a swallowing of impure food, and it went to the oil.
Where in the
Shmuel told God, according to me, makes sense. That means the first Shekeli Masuri Mosaton, that the swallowing of the impure vessels, it means prohibited vessels, prohibits. I know that makes sense. The story of the Yosef Yitzchak Shmuel, he said, and he said, Rabbi Simloi ben Tzivim, Rabbi Simloi made a drosha. He gave a sermon in the city of Tzivim, and he said, Shemen, oil. Rabbi Yehuda Beis Din, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Anos Anasiya, in his court, they made accounting of Beis Din, and they permitted oil. So I said the reason why it's not allowed because they be swallowed from the vessels. So that's why you need Rabbi Yehuda and Anasiya in his court to permit it. Why? How they can permit it? Maybe there's a swallowing of impure food from the vessel, says because kasava they hold very sentam if muto. This is a very important rule and very important understanding here. Giving taste, which is blemish, is permitted.
If you have only the taste only, that if you put a big quantities of kosher oils in it, the favorites of the non-kosher favorites disappear.
Yes, that's not the point. The point is, this is mucho importante. The rule is, taste is also. If I put, hey Avraham, I cook beitzim, those beitzim eggs with oil with butter, and then fat that was cooked the chicken on it. What's happening? What's the law? You have to throw, right? I told you to throw it apart. Right? You understand my language? Yesterday, yes, what's the problem? I told you to throw it apart, right? Or maxing if you're not a maxing. Or reconcilize it, otherwise get rid of it. Now, where is the Yisur is Noisatam, was giving a taste to the pot, to the machvat, and then you cooked eggs with butter, so now the butter with the eggs had a mixture, a taste of chicken in it from what was cooked before, less than 24 hours. What happened if the taste was more than 24 hours, already pagum, blemish? They hold, the beauty of the scene is based on if the taste that gives through the vessel is blemished, is permitted. You hear this, Jonathan? What does mean? The words? What does Nifga mean?
Damage.
No. Blemish. Blemished.
Favorite disappeared.
The taste, noise and time, giving taste, Nifga, that is pagum. Pagum means blemished. When the taste is blemished because 24 hours passed, and I asked you, I realized, I asked you, when was the last time they cooked chicken on? In less than 24 hours, there's no time, not Nifga, it's also. But no time Nifga, the whole is permitted. Yes, yes, to be washed and clean. If otherwise there's residue, otherwise there's residue of chicken in the pot. The pot is clean. There's only biyun, only swallowing. The swallowing only also within 24 hours. Within 24 hours, no time Nifga, they hold is permitted. So that's why they permitted oil. Because they said ordinary oil is being put in vessels which had swallowings of impure food more than 24 hours. It's blemished. Those type of food in the oil is a blemished taste. What happens when it's blemished? Or the taste is blemished because there's oil that's 24 hours past. Or those two species together with chicken, the chicken doesn't give a good taste to the oil. It doesn't become a better oil. It becomes a sticky oil, whatever it is. It's a Chinese, it's a very bad taste almost.
No, but no, for Indians.
No, even they love it. They let it go crazy. Right? By the way, you have to say that. It says that when we get a reward, it's really, I should eat it. And I don't know because Hashem said not to. Then you get a reward. What?
There is another percent that is like disgusting. Like I remember this, I shouldn't eat it, but there's another source. And that's
you know, discuss and yet Hashem is giving us reward. It's two options. I don't know.
Because if you grow up, then it gets really disgusting. When you smell a goy food, if you grow up, it must be like in your soul. Disgusting. No, with time. At the beginning you want to eat, but if you're in high level, you should feel like really like something.
You can smell it.
Right. Misha told me there was an army, he wasn't raised religious. You know, Misha works here fixing it. He used to be in Yeshiva years ago. He sleeps outside, you know, he makes his sukkahs. So Misha told me one time was in the army, and there was a whole group of kibbutznikim, and he said, let's cook a pig. And they bought a pig, they started cooking. But he was raised in a conservative home, traditional home. not religious, but traditional. He says he almost threw up. He says, wow. It wasn't religious. But the Chazer, he was raised that not for Jews is disgusting. And he told him, when you're crazy, disgusting. They look at him, what do you want? What? No, they don't want nothing about the feelings of disgust. Okay, him to Malay. So again, they held, Rabbi Anossi held, and Shmuel says, according to me, is very good. They held Moise Tarif Gam, that's why they permitted oil. According to you, Daniel goes along, you said that the Daniel, the prophet, made a decree on oil. Daniel Koza was a prophet. Also, Rabbi Anossi came, Rabbi Anossi, he canceled it. How can he cancel? He's not on the level of prophets. Now we learned there's a rule, and Bezin Bezin cannot nullify the words of another Bezin. Everything cannot list. God who's bigger than him. The Chochem of wisdom and meaning and the numbers of judges.
Now then is the prophet, but he's not Bezin.
He was a Bezin. He had a Bezin. So you need to be as big or equal. Rabbi Simloi from the city of Luda. He said that statement that the reason that Rabbi permitted because no Islam Nifgam. No. Shining Ludoi the Mezalzulu, the city there, the Ludin Jews were very disgraceful. And therefore, that's why they permitted it. There's things that are they didn't care about the rabbi's words, and that's why they permitted it. What meaning said? Rabbi Simloi, what you said? And what? They knocked them out by saying, no, the rabbis, they permitted only in the city of Ludoya that they don't care about the rabbis' decrees. It became shame that he said such a statement of Rabbi Simloi. That's it. Now that said that Daniel made a decree of oil, he says, if they didn't make a drosha, I will make a drosha. If they didn't make a drosha, Rabbi Anossi didn't learn from a verse that said that Daniel made a decree on it, and he held that the basin afterwards made a decree on it because of the swallowing. We will die. The Aksiv says, Vayosem Daniel Aliboy. If he didn't do it, we don't do it. We have to do it ourselves. Because it says, Vayosem Daniel Aliboy. Daniel put on his heart. Asher is guile, he won't be disgusted. The part with the bread of the king. So Daniel says, I'm not going to eat any more bread of the king, bread of goyim. Ubeyayin mishtoyo, the ordinary wine of the Nebuchadnezzar. The shtei mishtoyos according to the two feasts of drinking. The verse talks about mishtayav. It's a plural. Echod mishtayayim, one general feast of wine. The echod mishtayim and one of drinking of oil. Feast of oil. What does that mean? Like probably sufganiyot. And all those different types, stinging, all the different types of food of oil food. Oil banquet.
Yeah, in the actually stored with barrels in your house.
I know, but also they make foods with them.
Yeah.
There's oil foods. But anyhow,
They didn't preserve the oil for cooking, so they made oily food.
so it says he didn't touch the bread of the thing and the wine of his drinks, of his feast. 2 feasts, 1 feast of wine, 1 feast of oil. Rav Sovar Alibo, Rav thought in his heart. Rav Sovar Alibo thought in his heart. Sorry, Rav learned. Rav Sovar, Rav heard. Alibo himself. On his heart, he put not to eat bread of a king and not to drink oil. And for the entire Jewish people, he taught not to drink oil and not to eat bread of coin. Shmuel holds, Sovar alibo som. Shmuel Sovar alibo som on his heart he put it. Well, the Holy Soil, but he didn't teach it to the Jewish people. Again. So we have a machlokes if Daniel only put on his heart not to eat bread and oil, but he didn't teach it to the Jewish people, he taught the Jewish people. Rav holds he also taught the Jewish people. And the one that decreed oil is Daniel. And Shmuel learned, no, he only put on his heart. He didn't make a decree to the Jewish people. Only Rabbi Yehuda, the author of the Mishnah, Rebbe, later on, they, or Talmid Shamavil, they prohibit oil. That's later generation. Although Daniel was the first one to prohibit oil, but only to himself, not to the Jewish people. Yes.
Saying that
Yes.
in Talmud Yerushalmi, they permit the bread of goy if you are what they say, okay, allowed to eat.
Bread of going, yes. So.
But the halacha say מי ששומר לאכול לחם פלצר, חד פלצר, יש לו רשות, מותר לאכול לחם עם מנה יהודית. בגלל שאין מלאכה של מיקס, אין מלאכה מיקס. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi who allowed to eat oil and another thing, and because that he don't do another
another permission.
Yeah, you have two permissions to eat something. One is oil, and another is from another game.
Yes.
Oil, and if he allowed to another things, the Beis they don't believe them because hey,
right, too lenient. Right. So what do you want to say with that?
No,
yes, it's true what you're saying. So what do you want to say with that?
The answer is why the people of Am Israel they are not, ¿cómo se dice? Siguieron el decreto. Follow the decree from Daniel and from.
That's the Gemara here. Let's see the Gemara, right? Right now we're learning. So let the Gemara says. The Gemara says that Daniel Kosa, Daniel is the one that made the decree. I'm reading 4 lines on the big line. Bread, oil, wine, and their daughters. All of them are from the 18 decrees of Beisham Mesida. But he also Daniel, when Daniel came, also Daniel, maybe would say that Daniel came, Koza, he made a decree, but he keep it, and the Jewish people didn't accept it. But also Talmidei Hillel, then the students of Hillel and Shammai, the Gozu, the keep it, they made a decree, and the Jewish people accepted it. Okay? Again, the Moses says, what do you mean? Daniel made the decree. We know, Shammai made a decree. And he says, maybe we answer, but Hitema, also Daniel, Daniel made a decree and the Jews didn't accept it. Also, when Shammai came, the student of Shammai, the Gozu, they made a decree. The Kibbel and the Jews will accept it. That cannot be. In Ken Maisa Adu say the Rav, Maya Sadu say the Rav. What is the testimony of Rav? Rav said Daniel did. Don't say Daniel, say Hillel Shammai. Elo Daniel goes the role of Bein. Daniel made a decree that in the city you have to eat oil of grain. Also, Inu came, Hillel Shammai, the students, the Gozu Afilu Basod, they made a decree even in the field. Bread, oil, wine, the daughters.
it's a
Yes.
matter of like Daniel Bedin and.
Yes. And they come out basic.
Oh, but Daniel is more Aham than this, or.
Yes, it was a prophet.
And we are not allowed to.
That's the Gemara's question right now. The Rabbi Anosi, Himatzil Mishay, how can Rabbi Anosi permit the decree of oil? Takanta, the Shama evil. Okay, Daniel did it, or Shama evil. Daniel did it in the city, Shama did it in the field. But Rabbi Anosi wanted to permit it. How can he permit what Shama evil did? Doesn't matter if they did it in the field or they declare. They're the ones that made the decree, people accept. According to both answers, Rabbi Anosi, which is the grandson, lower, based on how can he permit it? Now we learn, and based on Yochel about the legal basis Chavei, and can go to Menu B'chol a basic cannot nullify another court unless it's equal in wisdom and numbers. We have a choices, 12 options again. Or Daniel made a decree in the city, Isham made it in the field, or Daniel did the decree and people didn't listen to him, and only in the Shammai when they will listen. But the Gemara removed the first option, the second option I mentioned, and they go with the first option. And Daniel did it in the city, and the Shammai did it in the field, and Rabbi Anosi totally permitted. What's that how it's possible? He's not on the same level.
Are they in the same generation?
No, Rabbi Anosi is 3 generations after, 5 generations.
But Daniel was before Shema.
No, Daniel is way before. Daniel is 40 years before. Even more. Any decree another court with the same level of numbers and wisdom can cancel. Besides, from the 18 things. Even the prophet will come, in Sherman they don't listen to him. They see them decreed 18 things, and one of them not eat the bread, wine, and oil, and not marry the daughters of God. Those part of the 18 decrees. Those decrees, even based on the same level, or Yahweh becomes a prophet, even greater than them, cannot cancel it. So first of all, Rabbi Anosi is lower. Rabbi Anosi, he's lower. It's 2 generation that he doesn't have the same wisdom and number. Number 2 is those are 18 sales of Beishamai Sinel. What Mission Shabbos said. They made 18 degrees, and part of them is oil and the bread. And nobody can cancel even is greater than it. The Gemara answer. Oh, Meshashi. The Meshashi says you're right. But what's the reason I've been able to see it permitted it? Why you cannot cancel the 18 things? Even if a live the prophet comes, what's the reason? It's late, I'll just finish this. Or even will push up the sword of Israel. Since the decree was spread by the majority of the Jewish people, so even the voice of the prophet cannot cancel it. Shem and oil were pushed of Israel. Oil was not spread by the majority of Jewish people. Sat down and they checked. Al Hashem and on the oil shall push and sword of Israel. The Jewish, it wasn't spread by the prohibition of the majority of the Jewish people. So what are we saying? No. And our rabbis relied on they said, and don't make a decree on the congregation, unless the majority of the congregation can handle. And since the Jewish people did not accept, they weren't allowed to make a decree unless the congregation accept. And we found out later on, we talked about they were mistaken, because it wasn't spread. The decree was never by oil. What Tosha says, also bread. Tosha says, since Rabbi Yochanan said that was never permitted in court, bread must be I don't need court, because it wasn't spread. It's made up this idea. Since we see there be permitted bread in the field, right? The whole story you bring the field or the students of pressure. And Rabbi Yochanan says was never permitted in court. Must be that bread is like oil. That it wasn't spread. If it wasn't spread, the takana was a mistake. Because they're not allowed to make a decree unless they know they can accept. And in reality, they couldn't accept. Retroactively must be as a wrong, it's not a decree. Therefore, even a law basin come and permitted. And even in places where there is a prohibition, because they accepted it, it's only be'ein, not ta'oibus, and not gliois. This is the Gemara. We have to see Toises, not the last place on the page. And we're going to see, we'll bring some Rishonim here, and then we go on to the difference between cooked food and baked food. Because the decree was, why? Because since I have options, and somebody in Rabbanon, and then I assume that it wasn't the.
I know it is.
Yes. I mean, Havana, yes.
No. First of all, they are not allowed to be young because they say avoda zara and the people that avoda zara no.
Well,
Then with me, they say no, they can be mixed. Oh, the people they say no, we don't need meat. And now with bread, they say that you are not allowed to eat bread because you are going to marry with boys. But the people say that's not too much.
לא, זה בדיוק, גלית שמי רבו, רבות כמו פוסי, להמליך מרבוסי, הם קונים כל את חמודי ישראל, לא מזמן קוראים ליבו שמי ליבו שוב ריבו, לילה ריבו ריבו שבוסו מלך מוסונה מרוב מרוב ישראל על רבונו ועל תלמידיון ועל תלמידיון all my nose to lights on the Sunday. That's how I sang. Elon put you on a kilo of the Bakami. I don't even know the little book. I'm going to show you for me. Yeah, so I'm going to try.